Hi, my name is Kate Temple West of katetemplewest.com. I am a writer and a dream teacher, and tonight, on this rather dark and stormy night here in the Hudson Valley, I'm in my magical little red cabin where I'm writing my novel, and I wanted to talk to you about how to remember your dreams, because that is probably the most frequently asked question I get as a dream teacher, is how to remember your dreams. And dreams, as you know, can change your life. They can enhance it in so many ways. They can expand your creativity, but first we have to remember them. So in my journey, I started out as somebody who, there you go, there's the dark and stormy night for you, making my chimney sing. So when I started out, I remembered a few of my dreams on occasion, usually a day that I had the luxury of lounging in bed and I didn't have to wake up with an alarm, and then I could just, let the dream sort of soak in and then I would remember it. Um, but I wanted more. I wanted to remember my dreams all the time. I wanted more dreaming. And what I learned was that um, forgetting our dreams is actually cultural. So in the Western industrialized world, it's very common for all of us to forget our dreams. And in other cultures where there is a more sacred relationship to dreaming, people remember their dreams all the time. So this told me that there was a way for me, if I could figure it out, to remember my dreams all the time. And I'm happy to report that I do remember my dreams pretty much all of the time, and oftentimes six a night at this point. So the first thing I did that worked for me was actually not the typical advice. So the typical thing that you'll read, and there's been studies that have proven that these things work. They do work, but they didn't work for me, and I'll explain why. So the first advice is to remember is to wake up naturally. Don't use an alarm clock. Well, you can understand why that might not work, because you might not have the luxury. I didn't have the luxury at that time in my life to not wake up with an alarm clock except on rare occasion. So then the second thing that you're taught is to stay in the same position when you wake up. So you're lying in bed, you've had a dream. Don't shift when you get up. Just stay there and let the dream soak in. That actually does work, but I was the kind of person who took it a little too, a little too seriously. So I'd wake up from my dream, and the first thing would be like, oh, I have to remember my dream. I can't move. I can't move. I have to remember my dream. Well, that's the worst. That's not the best way to do it. So, it's great if you can wake up and you're just like, oh, dream, and then let it sink in. That's kind of what the books meant, but I interpreted it a little differently. What did work for me was actually starting to play with my daily life as though it were a dream. And I do that all the time now for all kinds of reasons, and it's absolutely changed my life, transformed my life, and it's so much fun. And it never fails to spark more dreaming. So I'll give you an example of one of the first times that I consciously did this. This had happened to me in other times, but I decided consciously that I was going to start playing with my waking life as though it were a dream. So I'm walking down the street in New York City, and I see a very common sight, which is an overflowing trash can. Except the difference here is that there was a broken violin at the top of this overflowing trash can. And I decided to take that as a personal message. And the message I took from that was, don't treat your art like trash. And that was something for me, because at that time I really did need to learn to treat my art with sacredness. And that's kind of the way associations work. There's no wrong way to associate. It's really for you, and the message is actually coming from your unconscious mind. Somebody else might have walked down the street, seen that broken violin, and it reminded them of their grandfather who played the violin. So, you can have a completely different association with it. So I started doing that. And the thing is that dreams talk in symbolic language. They oftentimes have very immediate messages for us, very concrete messages for us, but they always speak with symbols. And so when we start playing with symbols in our daily life, we're opening up our dream consciousness to be able to really receive and to remember. And that really did change things for me, and I started having much more memory after I did that. So play with that, spend a day walking through the street, see whatever it is that is unusual, that is dreamlike, that you think, how is that possible? And the more you do that, the more you'll notice those things, and that's just fun. So that was one. The second one is just if you don't remember your dream when you wake up in the morning, think about, free associate with your thoughts. So you might wake up and you're thinking about your brother who you haven't spoken to in a while. You don't know why you're thinking about your brother, but you just are. That is probably because there was something in your dream that was reminding you of your brother. And so all of those first morning thoughts before we have to get into our to-do list, if you can carve out just a little time to kind of be with whatever kind of thing is coming up for you, that is a way that you're also paying attention. And it might be that you do that for a few nights and even write it down, even take a few notes and write it down, or make a sketch. If you're a visual art person versus a word person, make a little sketch of something that's just coming to you, a feeling, an emotion, and a thought. That has to do with whatever it was that you were dreaming the night before. So that way works really well. And then another way, which is related, is taking a page out of Lewis Carroll's book, when there's that famous quote from Through the Looking Glass where the Queen says to Alice that she thinks up 6 impossible things before breakfast. So taking a little time to do some free association, storytelling, or art making in the morning, even if it's the morning that's not quite the morning, even if it's on your coffee break at work, you have a little notebook and you make up a little story that's your dream story, that can really help spark dream memory, because what happens is our subconscious says, oh, well, she's paying attention, so I'm going to give her something good. And then the other thing is you can ask for what you want. The intention is a great thing to do before bed, but you don't have to just be like, I will remember my dreams. You can say, okay, I want a fun dream. I want something that makes me smile, or I want a dream that's going to make me feel better. I want a healing dream. You can ask for specific kinds of dreams. And this often works for people who have been stuck in the rut of anxiety dreams. And that's a whole other topic. So I'll talk about that another day, is how to break out of a pattern of a repetitive anxiety-producing dream. But hopefully that's given you some inspiration for your own dreaming practice. And if it helps you, then please let me know and leave a comment. And also you can check me out at katetemplewest.com and have a wonderful night of dreaming. Sweet dreams.